Welcome, friends. It's time to get your cacao ready and settle in as we join for another episode of Megan Hopper Presents The Cacao Crowd, where we'll connect to heal, empower, and learn to love ourselves a little more each day. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Glad you guys can be here. Glad that we figured it out so that we can be too. You know, the joys of doing a live show. You get some hiccups and we all learn together. It's a big fun journey. It's actually good because I was a little low energy and now I got a boost from things going sideways. So, you know, thanks universe. I do have some pretty big news. But we're going to wait till the end of the episode to share the big news with you guys and jump into, I'm sure, why you came, why you thought, yes, this is the episode I'm going to listen to. And that is our topic for today. What is a spiritual practitioner? And how do you choose the right spiritual practitioner to work with? Starting your spiritual journey is difficult enough. Finding someone to help you along your journey shouldn't be. So today we're going to dig into quite a few things and hopefully make the journey toward finding your teacher, guide, guru, Sherpa, shaman, whatever words resonate with you, a little bit easier. Y'all know that first we go into our meditative moment. We don't have cacao today. Instead, today we're going to be focusing on an exercise that uses the 5 senses. So sit back, relax, close or open your eyes. At some point you will need them open because it is 5 senses, and one of your senses is sight. But we're going to start with just a deep breath through your nose, expanding your diaphragm, exhaling through your mouth. And now name 5 things that you can see. Say them out loud. So I could say a teleprompter, a camera, a microphone, a water bottle, my producer. I think that was 5. I didn't count, but you should be. I was more concerned with making it look fun for you. Then, once we find those 5 things and we say them out loud, we're going to take another deep breath, inhaling through the nose, expanding that diaphragm, and exhaling through the mouth. Now find 4 things that you can touch and actually physically touch them. So I'm not going to touch the microphone because that's going to make a sound, but I could touch the microphone and feel that it was kind of squishy and kind of plasticky. Then I could touch my water bottle and feel that it's cold and that it's got a really hard texture and almost this kind of like speckled grain on the outside because of the coating. Then I could touch the back of my phone case, which is rubber, and feel it's smooth and soft and warm because I was just holding my phone posting on Instagram. Then, after making noise, I could touch my zipper and feel the kind of almost like spiky parts of it and really getting lost in those tactile sensations. And then taking another deep breath, inhaling through the nose, expanding the diaphragm again, exhaling through the mouth. Now, 3 things that you can hear, naming them. I'm in a pretty soundproof area so that you guys don't have a lot of background noise. So for me, that's going to be difficult. For you, that's probably a little bit easier. I can say I can hear planes going overhead every now and then. I can hear an air conditioning sound. Just like a light background noise of it. I can kind of hear my own voice. So that's 3. Again, I'm sure it's easier for you. And really, I'm moving through this pretty quickly, but taking your time with it and really hearing every part of it. Do you like that sound? Do you not like that sound? What don't you like about that sound? How does it make you feel? And then again, taking that deep inhale through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. And then you go to your scent sense. 2 things that you can smell. So if I had cacao in here, I could smell my cacao and go, now I want to drink it. If you wear lotions on your hands or perfumes, or you're outside where you have trees and plants and flowers, anything that you just feel is safe to smell. Obviously, if there's something that is going to kill you, if you inhale it, don't do that. And then another deep breath in through your nose, expanding the diaphragm, and out through the mouth. And then finishing with your sense of taste, one thing that you can taste. So before I did my show today, I had some tea, and I can still taste a little bit of that on the back of my tongue. So there's some hibiscus, some black pepper, some turmeric, and some moringa. So, again, going into what can you taste? What tastes are still lingering, or what do you have around you? Water, cacao, tea, that you can hold in your mouth for a minute and really get that taste of it. And then again, another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then once you've kind of brought yourself back to this present space by engaging all of your five senses to where you are right now in this present moment, in this physical body, just give yourself a second to assess how you feel. This is a good technique if you get panic attacks, if you have a lot of anxiety. That way you're already tying it to something. You have a number, you have a countdown, you have senses that you're using every day. You're just focusing on them, which isn't something that you're usually doing. So it gets you out of that kind of monkey mind, if you will, of go, stay alive, and into your conscious present self. So definitely something to try. If you didn't do it with me during this exercise, or you felt like we went a little too quick, feel free to go through it again on your own. Definitely give yourself time to engage in each of those senses and each of those items. But let me know what you think about it. And if that kind of exercise is something that helps you, I will definitely add more of them to each episode. So, yeah. Then we move on to our fun fact, because we always do a fun fact, because fun facts are fun. And today's fun fact is all about video games. So video games are actually training for real life. No matter what your mom told you, they are training for real life. If you need to control a U.S. Navy periscope, that is. In 2018, the U.S. Navy started installing Xbox 360 controllers in its submarines. The control sticks that they should be using technically for the periscopes are not very user-friendly and are extremely expensive. So the Navy opted for Xbox 360 controllers. So the next time someone tells you that you play too many video games, just tell them you're building your resume. And now let's dig into our subject. What is a practitioner? Aside from a word that is going to trip me up through the entire episode, so I may at some point switch it to guide. Let me start with this. The reason for today's show. Now, sometimes my shows are based on a question someone asked me, a request for a topic, or just because it's something I'm excited about. Today is prompted by something I've been seeing a lot lately. Practitioners who aren't being trusted. They're being called out for abuse, whose actions don't match up with their teachings, who tell you you can bring you to a new level of understanding the universe as long as you give them a big fat check and agree to not tell a single soul about anything that happens. First of all, that's not a thing. A practitioner can help you allow yourself to open to whatever level of knowing, learning, listening to yourself that you want to go. But nobody, literally nobody in this God-given earth can do the work for you. If they tell you otherwise, that is your first signal to run. Secondly, I say it all the time, and I have a whole episode earlier in my podcasts on my one rule for every single thing. 3 words: you are correct. If you haven't seen or heard the episode, go check it out after this one. But the long and short of it is, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not. Listen to your gut and empower yourself to be your greatest advocate. Now, I'm not saying there aren't less than favorable people out there. I'm not saying everyone in the spiritual realm and people who are considered the spiritual celebrities that hold conferences, sell out arenas, write books, all of that. I'm not saying all of them are good or all of them are bad. I'm saying they're human, just like you. Have they done the work or taken courses on techniques or allowed their psychic abilities to come through? Probably, yes. And can some of us teach you those techniques? Make it easier to allow whatever is in your gut that you're ready for? Help you embrace those techniques that will make life more fun and easier? Absolutely. So, how do you find the right practitioner to work with? Glad you asked. And we'll start with the basics. What is a practitioner? So the basic definition is one who practices. If you look it up online, go to the dictionary, do a Google search, one who practices. The simplest way that I can put it is someone who lives and loves what they teach. In terms of a spiritual practitioner, that may have certificates from classes they've taken, or for certain modalities they offer. They may have certificates from classes they've taken. There you go. And for certain modalities they offer, classes and training can be more or less relevant. So something like what I do with Earseeds and knowing where the auricular points are on the ear, definitely something that you need to train yourself for. But remember, Abe Lincoln taught himself to be a lawyer from some textbooks. So school and formal training isn't always the be-all, end-all society makes it out to be. He was a president after all. So yeah, for spiritual practitioner, I told you I was going to trip up on that word saying it 100 times. For a spiritual practitioner, it really comes down to practicing what they teach, though. We call it a spiritual practice for a reason. I mean, even all of us say, well, what's your yoga practice? What's your meditation practice? And if they're teaching you to meditate, they shouldn't have just opened up an app one day and said, oh yeah, I can do that. No problem. Because the kind of integral part that they're missing by doing that, by not giving themselves the chance to experience that and to practice it, they're not going to be able to understand what you could experience. And I say could experience because anytime that you're doing meditation, and I'm using meditation as an example, but it's kind of relevant for all of the spiritual modalities and practices and techniques. Anytime that you're doing meditation, you shouldn't be setting the expectation for how you're going to feel or how it's going to work or what you're going to see or what you're going to experience, because it's going to change based on where you are at that moment, based on everything that's going on around you, based on what headspace you're in and what you're available for. So setting the expectation is setting yourself up for potentially being disappointed and then getting yourself out of alignment with your higher self. That's why we always say set your intentions. But if somebody is just listening to one meditation, a guided meditation that they heard and going, cool, this is my new jam. I'm going to do this all the time and charge people, and I'm going to be a meditation guide. They don't understand all of the variety of what you could experience. They won't be able to answer your questions. They won't be able to give you any kind of real useful insight. And there are some caveats to that in terms of if they open to their psychic abilities, but that's a much headier discussion and a very rare case. So I don't want to delve into it in that way. I will just say it as it really should be something that they practice. And, my friend Keith, who's been on one of the podcasts with us before, he always says the people that have really gone through some stuff, and he uses a different word, but I try to keep it PG when I can. People that have gone through some stuff, that's all training for being a world-class healer. So, at the same point, if you're sitting there going like, oh, but I've been through so many things in my life and it's been so terrible and it's been so hard. you're already halfway to being a practitioner yourself then. So, woohoo, celebrate it. um, and then, like I said, it's really just someone who lives and loves what it is that they do, and really going kind of the opposite of definitions and more towards how things are often said in the spiritual community. A spiritual practitioner is usually somebody who makes you feel and makes you think. They poke, they push buttons, and then they give you a great big hug after, as long as, of course, you are consenting to a hug. And now that you're kind of on board with what a spiritual practitioner is, like I said above, they can go by many names: a guide, a guru, a way shower, a teacher. Sometimes in a ceremony, I call myself a tour guide for your journey. Really doesn't matter. But how do you find the practitioner for you? How can you tell if they're legit? I went through a few things back at the beginning of this segment, making you promises, telling people that they can't share about their experiences. Anything that just doesn't feel right, probably pretty good places to start on who you should not work with. And there is a difference between it feeling like pushing outside of your comfort zone and doesn't feel right. So, for example, the first time that I ever went on a roller coaster, I was absolutely freaking out. I don't like heights, but I do love speed. So I'm standing there in line with my friends, and they've all been on roller coasters before, and they're totally fine. And I'm like, this tough chick growing up, so I couldn't let them all know that I was scared out of my mind. And I'm listening to the roar of this coaster over our heads, and I'm listening to the screaming people that are just strapped in there. And I hear, the screeching brakes or the air letting out as it's coming to the end of it. And I'm going, okay, let's figure this out. Why am I freaking out? Do I actually think that I'm going to die on this roller coaster? No. And looking at all the people that are coming off of it with these giant smiles from ear to ear. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll be okay. Do I think I'm going to get sick or something else that could be potentially embarrassing that I had heard happen to some other people? Maybe, but probably not. Okay, so why am I freaking out? And I realized as we made our way through the queue, my uneasiness was just fear of the unknown. Knowing I had the safety of the overhead strap, the ride vehicle, and the track below me, made of this like ridiculously huge gauge steel, quality tested in measurements that I can't even see until it's under a microscope. Knowing how many tests they go through each day, and maybe most importantly, that this ride had happened multiple times without any issue the whole time I'd been waiting, and everyone got off just fine on the other side. So yeah, it's a little bit using everybody that came before me as a guinea pig, but it did show me that it was an extremely good chance this was not going to do lasting damage to my person. Also, knowing I had the choice up until that thing was moving with me in it, that I could say no, definitely didn't hurt. So, bit of a long-winded way to say it, but if you sit back and ask yourself yes or no questions, you can usually tell what's pushing your boundary and what's just wrong. Also, your practitioner should make you feel supported at all times. Whether you're crying, whether you're laughing, whether you don't want to go any further in your journey that day, they should be supporting you. And again, there is that line between pushing a little bit outside of your comfort zone, outside of your boundary, once they've gotten to know you and know where that is, and can tell the difference between a no and because I'll be honest, there's times that I've worked with some of my teachers that I go, I don't know. And I can hear part of me is screaming, do it, do it, do it. And part of me is going, hide, hide, hide. And luckily, I've worked with my teachers long enough that they can tell the difference now. And they'll tread carefully when I'm at that place. And if they kind of put one toe in and I go, no, then okay, cool. And they will support me in that decision. And that's really important for someone that you are trusting with your spiritual and healing journey, your growth. I mean, sometimes you're talking about things that you didn't even realize that you knew or felt. You have the ability to go really deep if you want to. So, yeah. Eventually, you'll get to the place where you trust yourself to be your support. But a lot of us really do like that external validation, that external reflection of safety and support. So definitely make sure that it is someone that you feel comfortable around, that you feel has your best interest, has your back, and you would feel okay coming to if you just really needed something. Like, I am in a female body, so I can reflect as a female, but there's when you're growing up, when a female is hitting puberty and she's getting her period and hasn't figured out where that spot's going to be when she needs to change something, and she gets a spot on the back of her pants, there are only certain people in her life that she wants coming up to her to tell her that's happening. That's the kind of person you want as your practitioner. The one that you're okay with telling you, hey, you got something going on in your pants, and gives you their hoodie to wrap around your waist. Or if you have your dress stuck in your underwear and somebody's got to help you and pull that out. Or if your fly is down, that's the kind of person you want as your practitioner, that kind of support. Just trying to give you guys some fun analogies that seem rather approachable. And your practitioner should also listen as well as talk. So back to the original, you are correct. That first part of it, that you part of it, you know you are having your experience. They can probably intuit many things if that's part of their toy box, their modalities, the things that they have open to you. But what you have to express and vocalize is also extremely important, because a lot of times an intuitive healer, an intuitive guide, an intuitive practitioner is going to hear things and pick up on things that you may not be ready to go to either. So having that expression, having that voice, and feeling empowered to use it to speak is very important. And I want to leave you with this one, probably most important point. I say this to everyone I work with, but rarely do I hear it when I'm working with other people on myself. And I think it's really something that everyone should hear. You don't have to pick one and stick with them. Your practitioner, your guide, your guru, your shaman, your Sherpa, whatever you want to call them, it can change. I was talking with a friend the other day, yesterday, 2 days ago, I don't know what it was, the other day about this. And she said, oh yeah, like therapists, obviously, you keep trying different ones until you find the one that just clicks. And I said to her, okay, but when you started, did you know it was supposed to even click? Did you know it could click? Or did you just think, well, therapy is uncomfortable, so of course this is weird and clinical and I don't like it? And she's like, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of that. It's just been so long, And I don't think that often enough we are given that choice. We are given that permission to empower ourselves to have that. So since I know I do have a lot of viewers and listeners who come here to learn, who haven't really been on this journey for a long time, please understand that. And honestly, even if you have been on this journey, you grow, you change, your path changes. So sometimes you're going to align better with someone else as you're on this journey, as you're changing to a different path. That's how we become more well-rounded, by learning things from different people, because everyone brings something different to who you're going to become and who you're going to allow yourself to be. And I mean, part of it, if you go into like Abraham Hicks and stuff, she talks a lot about, or they talk a lot about contrast knowing what you don't like so that you can choose what you do, so that you can bring in what you do. So definitely feel free to find who you align with, and don't just stick with somebody because you feel like, well, this is who I chose and that's it. Like I said, I tell everybody that at all of my ceremonies. I don't want you to just keep coming back if you don't feel aligned. Please go where you feel comfortable. And the biggest thing in all of this, every topic, every modality, subject, etc., I will forever come back to you. Whatever you try, make sure it is an absolute yes for you, because you're the only one who's going to be able to know that. And as I promised at the top of the episode, the big news. Yours truly, Megan Hopper, I have been chosen to be a speaker for the Earseeds Virtual Summit. Woo! So since it's virtual, it's absolutely worldwide and anyone can attend. I did put the link in the show notes for you to grab your tickets if you want to sign up. And the event will be March 19th and 20th. There's a whole bunch of speakers signed up, all kinds of different fun things to talk about. If you want to know more about earseeds and auriculotherapy before you go there, I do have an earlier episode on earseeds, and I will be having Tova and possibly Ellie as well from earseeds.com in on next week's show. So you'll learn even more. So yeah, thanks again, guys. I know Thursdays can be a tough time to get yourself to a computer, to a phone, to a something, to come and join and listen and ask and comment and interact. I know some of you guys check this out after it's recorded, and I am very appreciative to all of you for joining me in this space, for supporting, and for showing me that there is an audience to keep doing this. So thank you so much. If you like what I do, please comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. Keep an eye on my website, my Instagram for events and offerings. And yeah, enjoy your evening, or if you're listening to this another time, the rest of your day.